is important, very important. We need to be looking for truth, and when we found the truth, accepting it. Even if it goes against us, our beliefs, our culture, our norms, our ideology, we should accept it.
So if the God claim was not true, Allah's existence was not true.
If the claim was not true, then you should take that.
So in principle, you'd be willing to change your position?
If any claim, if it's false, you should reject it. Simple as that. You should reject it.
So in principle, you would reject Allah's existence if it was in fact not true?
If it was not true, you would reject it. You would have to reject it, because that will show that how sincere you are and you are seeker for the truth.
Yeah.
But the problem is the overwhelming evidence already dispels this kind of claims that God doesn't exist, or Allah is not God, or Islam is not true. The evidence is so overwhelming that your mind simply cannot just dismiss it just like that, because you think, oh, Islam is a religion from the Middle East, so I'm not going to accept it because I'm white and I'm European. That will be a very bad reason for rejecting this truth.
Is that what you think I think?
No, of course not. I'm just giving you an example. If somebody did that and said, look, the Quran is in Arabic and I speak English, I don't know even a single letter of Arabic, so I cannot accept that to be true. Truth is not dependent on it being in English or in Arabic. Yeah, in this example. So the Prophet Muhammad can be a true prophet, even if he's from Arabia, even if he spoke Arabic.
The truth is universal.
Truth is not, related to a certain skin color, a certain skin language, or anything. Yeah, it's independent of all of that.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you examine the Quran, you will find that the Quran actually engages with you to bring back this truth so that you can accept it. To give you an example, the Quran says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ.
Translate this.
Do the unbelievers not see that the heavens and the earth as one piece, and God parted it asunder, and He brought every living thing from water? Would they then not believe? My point of emphasis is on the last part of this ayat of the Quran. Would they then not believe? What is the Quran is doing? Simply, it's not saying you must now believe. It's asking you a question by starting with a situation. Do the unbelievers not see? Okay, so it's dealing with a question about disbelief by a group of people or person who doesn't believe in something. And then it tells you, do they not then see? And then it gives you something like an evidence of some kind. And then at the end it says, would you then not believe? So this kind of process is one, addressing a position of disbelief in something, provide something to support that this position of disbelief is not really valid, and asks you, would you then not believe in it? So the last statement is very interesting. Why does it say, would you then not believe? Because it's asking you, bring yourself, be honest, be sincere, be truthful, be just. If you have seen this true evidence that's provided, on argument that is sound, why shouldn't you believe? Yeah, it wasn't addressing the Muslims. It was addressing the people who don't believe, who are disbelievers. أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Those who have rejected, those who have denied, those who have not accepted, right? And then it says the universe, the heavens and the earth. The heavens is whatever beyond the earth is the heavens. Not as in paradise, the skies, the nebula, the galaxies, the constellations, these are all heavens. The Quran says it was all as one piece at one point. And then there was a separation. Okay, rataq and fataq. So that one piece of information. And the second piece of information, as if one wasn't enough, is that every living thing was made from water, brought from water. Now we know from our understanding of current technological advancement in science, that yes, our Earth and beyond the Earth, the extraterrestrial entities at one point joined together in one entity, and then it was separated. So yes, that's point one. Second point, yes, the living things, the life that we know of, it actually needs water for it to be living, for it to to call itself alive, to propagate its life and so on. It's a living.
And this is all from an ancient 1400-year-old
Now,
book.
so this is from a Quran, which is 1440 something years, right? Previously. It's amazing that this knowledge is something that we now accept to be true. But 1400 years ago, how the knowledge was, is a different question altogether, whether people
So
knew
the
about
Quran
it.
is a book of science.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even proving anything about science or Quran being a scientific miracle. I'm focusing on the last part of this collection of ayahs. Would they then not believe? So the Quran is engaged. Remember what I said? The Quran engages with you so that your thinking critical self comes out and say yes. If this is the case, what's stopping me from believing? This is just one of the examples the Quran provides. The Quran says about the existence itself. أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ.
You have to sing it.
أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بَلْ لَا يُوقِنُونَ. The Quran is a recital. Yeah? It's a recital. We recite it. And this will be like it was transmitted like this until the world comes to an end. This is how we preserve the Quran. We don't just say the Quran says this in Chinese and English. What will that be? Will be a translation and interpretation. Quran, this is another level for you to reflect. The Quran that we are presenting to you, which we claim to be the guidance from God, is exactly as it was delivered, without any alterations. And we deliver it to you as it was recited, in the way it was recited. So you have one more level of confidence that yes, the book that I'm now trying to understand, whether it's from guidance from God or not, is at least I'm rest assured it's been transmitted with this preservation in mind. That's the reason we want to make sure that yes, I'm giving you the Quran, the real deal. So when the Quran says, were they created from absolute nothingness? What do you think? We explained before, no. We didn't come from absolute nothingness. أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ. Were they created from absolute nothing? The answer is no. أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Did they create themselves? No. أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Did they create the heavens and the earth? No. And the Quran then rhetorically asks, or even makes a statement, بَلْ لَا يُقِنُونَ. They have no certainty. They are not certain. They have no certainty.
Mansur, that the questions that he has in his mind are found in the Quran.
That's what I'm introducing.
That's what I mean.
I've
read the Quran in English.
Yeah, so what I'm introducing to you, these two examples, Quran engages with you. It engages with you. It is not a book.
Engage with me, I find it very dull.
So when the Quran asks you as a disbeliever in God about the heavens and the earth, and then asks you, would you then not believe?
Disbelieve.
No. Those who reject, right, belief. Consider that way.
I'm not convinced it's true. No.
Yeah, so not being convinced it's true, then he asks you, would you then not believe? So you have to deal with this question. That's how the Quran is engaging with you. So the Quran does engage, but you need to really ask yourself, it looks like it's engaging with me, let me deal with it. It says the Prophet is a messenger of God, and if it wasn't the case, people would have already pointed this out, that he was not a prophet of God. His people would have said, okay, we know where you learned this from. But they couldn't, because they know no one taught the Prophet. So where does the Prophet know all of these things? I mean, how does this Prophet know? Because he is delivering this Quran, and he says, he's made, God has made, the originator, the creator has made the mountains like pegs.
I've heard this before.
You've heard this before, right?
There's no errors in the Quran, is that what you're saying?
I'm just simply telling you, the way the Quran engages with you is to really use your rational faculty, ask questions, and then you surrender to it. Say, I accept it's from God or not.
So
I am not.
just follow-
I
just
am
follow
not.
that
The
then.
examples I've
Mountains like pegs. you said.
the examples I've given you is not. I'm saying okay, there's a scientific miracle in there. This is not my point. I'm saying how the Quran engages with you. Do they not see that God has created like this and that? That He's created mountain like pegs, and that's what the mountains are. Most of it is underground. So it's a description which is understood by a lay person with no knowledge of geology, and it is understood equally by a professor of geology. So the Quran is now giving you another level of its deliverance. The way it's delivered is that it is independent of your level of knowledge.
Did it talk about
It
plates?
talks to you. It talks to you whether you're a scientist or whether you're a person on the street. It's on another level. The Quran engages with people in such a way that it doesn't have to differentiate between you're a professor or a non-professor. It can equally speak to all of you at once.
The mountains are pegs. Most of it's underground.
Isn't that the case?
Does it not elaborate on plate tectonics? The Quran.
The Quran is not teaching you about geology. The Quran is simply alluding to a fact to think.
With the mountain, most of it's above ground. It's not below ground. It's plate tectonics.
A mountain is not mostly above ground. If you look at the mountain range, whether it's these Himalayas or the Alps and so on, mostly down. We are like a tip of the iceberg. If you remember what an iceberg is, the iceberg tip is just a little bit, and the rest is all underground, in the water.
I didn't think that. Maybe I need to brush up on my.
You can have a look at.
I don't think that's
You can
true.
look at.
check it out.
You can check it out.
I don't think. I thought most of the mountains are above ground.
No, it's not. It's not that case.
Before asking,
Also, like you
is there
just said, an
errors in the
iceberg on
Quran?
water.
Do you believe
Most of it's underground.
this world has a creator?
No.
You should start from
I don't believe that the universe is created.
yes. So
I don't believe the cosmos
So
is.
do you believe that you are? I mean, your life is real. I mean, you are here with us.
I believe I'm here standing in a park talking to men about religion. That's what I believe.
So
What are you asking me?
if you as just Brother Mansur explained about the origin of the creation, if you are here, you should ask yourself.
Why am I here?
Not why, but how. You are here. I mean, humankind, for example.
But I don't think an
What is
ancient.
the origin of humankind? Just
The origin of sorry,
humankind.
humankind. Well, I don't think the Quran gave me the answers. I read the Quran in English. It didn't give me the answers I wanted. It certainly didn't.
You have already an answer that you
No, I don't think the universe is an endless mystery, as I keep saying to this other chap. I think existence is a mystery. We'll never understand it. I think science does a better job of explaining reality than religion ever did.
even
I think the
scientists,
Quran is
they are not really sure about the origin of humankind. I don't really see why you.
I just want to bring one example. The Quran makes a particular statement in a very much of an emphasis using a style called oath. Not only say you swear by something, right? The Quran uses a style with this to make this emphasis very great. It says, makes oath about mawaqi' al-nujum. Now, when you look at the stars at night, yeah, what's your impression when you look at a star? What are your impressions? What are
I'm in awe. I think it's very impressive.
when you look at a particular star?
Just to answer your question, I said I'm very, it's fascinating.
When you look at a particular star, what do you think that star is? Well, tell me about what are the things that you think that are true about this star.
It's another sun, millions of miles away, potentially light years away.
Yep.
It's within our galaxy.
Yep.
Is still there, for example?
Brother, please, right?
Why can you not interject?
It's not an introduction. I have a particular line of thought. I want you to really, steer your mind to come to an answer. It's important. So sometimes it's not very helpful when, you derail the thought or provide an answer which will not be beneficial in this one. So I apologize, but, it's very, very important, brother, to understand. If you don't know the way I'm talking, then you will not be helping me, rather you'll be, yeah, right. So, about the stars, yes, distance.
Face.
Yeah. No, same thing. I mean, if you,
it's another sun, millions of light years away.
Yeah.
That is maybe potentially has its own planetary system. You
Yeah.
know, it's another star like our sun. Might be much larger, might be much smaller. Yeah, it's one of 400 billion in our galaxy alone. Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, it's very pretty to look at.
okay.
Yeah.
Anything else about the truth of that star? Any other truth that it comes to your mind? You mentioned a few things. Anything other?
Well, I wonder about it, how old it is, how far from its lifespan it is, how large it is, if it has its own planetary system. That's about it.
Okay.
It's very pretty to look
So,
at.
so what this brother, listen, what this brother already questioned is, this is precisely what I was going to say at the end. But because being knowledgeable enough, he tried to bypass all of that, but sometimes it's not right. He was going to ask you. Now I'm going to ask you, did it ever occur to your mind, the Sheikh may explain even better, is it still there in the position that you saw?
Oh, okay, so yeah.
مواقع النجوم.
Because it's so far away, it might be looking back into the past because it's taken.
No.
It could be if you like. If it's our closest star is like 4.5 light years away.
No, when
so when you look at that star, you're looking at how it was 4.5 light years ago.
Yes, that means when you see the star isn't there.
See the position of that star.
You're only
Or it's
seeing
not how it looks.
no, you're only seeing
looking into the
the
past.
position of the star long time ago.
Yeah.
Right. This is what the Quran emphasizes with the nose, with the mawaqi' an-nujum, with the position of the stars. Think about it. This book is coming from someone who is telling you to think about the position of the star. If you did not have really thought about this, in fact, that's why I kept on asking you, what other truths do you think about the star? The fact is, the star isn't there. It's just the position of the star that you see.
And the following verse, the interesting thing, the following verse, Allah says, وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And it is a great oath if you are able to know what is it. So he's addressing those Arabs, if you give the space to the camera, yeah? So he's addressing those Arabs at that time, saying to them, it is a great oath. The position of the star, it's a great oath, but you are not yet aware of that. You're not yet aware, have the knowledge and the capability to understand what I mean by that. That's an indirect way. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. Yeah? So if you know that it's a great oath, if you know, yeah? So Allah is saying, addressing that the position of the star is something great, which you need to ponder.
So what you say, just to cut through all of it, 'cause I'm sorry, I find it, when we talk about religion, I find it very, I don't really disrespectful, I find it very dull. It doesn't interest me that much. What you're saying is that this is prophecy. Science has since discovered this.
No.
And it was,
What I'm saying
it was espoused in the Quran 1400 years ago.
What I'm just simply, that's why I tried to ascertain from you, what do you know about the stars? Now you know the position of the star is something that the people of science are telling you,
Yeah,
the star isn't
of
there,
science, yeah.
right? It was in fact a great deal of Muslim contribution on astronomy, about stars and naming them as well, that we came to know about stars in the first place. But we're going back 1400 years ago, looking at the knowledge at the time, to make statements. I mean, I've given you 3 statements so far from the Quran to show you how the Quran engages with you. All of them, you would say they're amazing. How the Quran talks about the position of the stars when, I mean, not many people would know that this is what it is when they look at the stars. So whether it's to do with the mountains or the stars or the interoceanic waves, the Quran is giving you things from the natural world, natural phenomena, for you to reflect deeply on this creation and say, the one who's giving you this information
So there are
is the one
scientific
who knows.
revelations in the Quran.
And that's one thing. That's one thing. For example,
What are you saying?
we're saying Quran has mentioned about facts. These facts, at the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the people, they will be not able to comprehend these facts. Yeah? So that's why they just took it as whatever it is, whatever it means at that time. Now, after the science developed, and after the knowledge being exposed to the people, yeah? Now we put the Quran into the test. Yeah? We say, okay, this Quran now here, Allah has said this in the Quran 1400 years ago. And now the science is saying this. Amazingly, that the Quran doesn't contradict the science.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Really, yeah. And, for example, another verse in the Quran, God has mentioned in the Quran about, for example, what is the deepest point any person could dive 1400 years ago? What's the deepest point any person on earth is able to dive? Can you give me anything?
A dive underwater?
Yeah. I'm asking you, just as I mean, it's not funny, I'm just asking.
I don't know.
Okay, let's suppose 200 years, what do you think? You cannot dive more than 20 meters maximum, yeah? So look at this. Now Allah says in the Quran, those who doesn't follow the guidance of Allah, they are like someone who's deep in the bottom of the ocean. Above him there is a wave. Above the wave there is another wave. Above the sea there is a cloud. Even if he took his hand out of his pocket, he will be not able to see it. Darkness upon darkness. So Allah is describing certain darkness, and this darkness is only discovered recently when the submarine, when they went inside deep in the ocean, and then they discovered there is no light there. Now, and Allah has said as well described, at that time people used to observe, they used to see the waves on the surface of the sea. But no one has the ability to dive inside the ocean to see there is another wave, which they call it the sea current, that goes in a different direction. So when the sunlight comes to the sea, yeah? So, and if it's a cloudy weather, 40% of this light will not go through. So only 60% will be able to go through. From this 60%, if there is waves on the surface of the sea, so it will break the light, and half of that will go through. This, whatever remains, the other waves, which is the sea current going in another direction, it will break what remains from that. And deep inside the bottom of the ocean, there is no light, literally pitch dark. Who taught Muhammad about this fact 1400 years ago? Where Mecca wasn't around sea, so Muhammad wasn't living around sea, even though he might saw sea here and there. Yeah? But we're talking about here the depth of science.
So isn't it possible I thought he was a merchant who travelled and he might have picked up that knowledge.
Okay, I ask you, how, even if you travel, what is the deepest point any person could dive? To observe there is pitch darkness, there is no light. And another waves in this side, and waves in another side, another direction, which is the sea current, which only you need literally to dive 50 meters or 100 meters in order to see the sea current.
Doesn't modern science completely just eclipse anything written in the Quran or any ancient book or the religious scriptures? Don't they just pale in comparison?
Remember, the point that I am making to you is not highlighting to you the Quranic amazing things. I am simply saying this is how the Quran engages with you. A man of modern day with the technological advancements all around you. And the Quran is engaging with you with those information that would have been certainly amazing then, and to you, you will say, amazing, at least to the least. So when the Quran engages, it does engage not just with simple things, oh, believe or go to hell. It actually, and in a way, very critically. Do you know what the Quran says? No, just
An insult to my intelligence.
sorry?
Mountains as pegs.
Yeah,
It's not true.
Yeah.
It's an insult to my intelligence.
You can look up whether the mountains have the depth underneath more than the top there or not. You can check this out. The second point, just about what I was talking about, when the Quran doesn't simply say you're going to go to hell and that's it. The Quran says those people who are in hellfire and their skin is roasted through.
Yeah, which is not true, is it?
Do you even know what I'm trying to make?
Well, sorry to be rude.
No. What I'm saying, the example, how the Quran engages with you with reason and arguments and proofs. When the skin is roasted through, the burnt. Okay, before I even explain that, what happens when we get burned? There are different levels of burn, right? First degree burn, second degree, and third degree. If someone was clever, they will say, look, oh, I'm going to go to hell, I'm going to burn, that's it. I'm not going to feel any more pain. Do you know why? Because the pain receptors in the skin. When my skin is burned, I am not going to feel any pain. I'll have a nice day in hell. Yeah, because I won't feel any more pain. If the whole purpose is for me to burn in pain, I won't feel any more pain. The Quran says that's not the end of it. As often their skins are burnt and roasted through, God recreates fresh skin so that they may feel the penalty, the chastisement.
Hell, yeah?
Wait, listen. their skin is regrown,
Yeah.
recreated for a reason, so that they can feel the pain. Why? Now we know, because the pain receptors are in our skin. That's why when you have a 3rd-degree burn, you can put a nail through and you won't feel pain. Yeah? So the Quran is not only giving you a threat about hellfire for those who reject God, but also gives you a mechanism of how God will punish you, a scientific mechanism. So I am not telling you this is about science. I'm telling you, look how Quran, the author of this Quran, the creator of this universe, engages with you and reasons with you. That's the point. I'm not here to telling you how miraculous the Quran is from science or not. No, I don't have to say that. I can tell you the Quran is true because the Quran has so many levels of evidence within it.
Do you find it unfathomable that I don't believe it? When I don't believe any of this is true. This is just nonsense to me. This is just mythology, archetypal stories.
No, I don't find it unfathomable. I find it that it's,
I
yes,
think I'm ignorant.
it's not about ignorance. It's the not proper use. I'll tell you several reasons. Not about you personally, but those who share this kind of character traits in terms of their dealing with these issues. Number one is to not process the faculty of rationality properly. The intellect is there, but it is not being used properly. It is not being utilized and applied. Number two, what we call stubbornness and arrogance. That having seen that, they're stubborn and arrogant enough to reject it. It's not for me. How can it be? I don't accept it. Knowing the truth. So these two elements are a key feature missing in many people, right?
Could that be missing in you, in most Muslims? This is
Sorry?
why could it be missing in you?
As
These
I said,
faculties? This
yeah.
is why you still believe these things.
No, I am not disbelieving. I'm believing based on using my rational
Maybe
faculty.
your belief
and
is equal. Maybe your belief is
wait.
lack of
When I believe Creator exists, I've used my rational faculty, so it's a right exercise of the rational faculty, the intellect, to believe in it. I am not saying I'm going to reject God just because of that. If I believe in God, then I have to listen to God and do God's will. No, I am not going to be that stubborn and arrogant. So I'm exercising my rational faculty and submitting and surrendering in humility rather than in arrogance and stubbornness. So my position is praiseworthy. The other position is blameworthy. That's the difference.
Chaps, it's been a pleasure.
Take care, man.
All right, okay, take care.